Well, hello everybody, and thanks for signing into this little paint class. Glad you signed up, and I'm glad to show you how to do this little painting right here. It's a little step by step. It's not going to take a long time to do, and if you follow my instructions, it's going to be pretty easy. I've recorded this, and I have it here for you as a link, so that if you want to do something and you're not quite sure how it's done, you can always pause and come back and re-look at the way I've done something in case you're a little confused. So I'm going to try it this way instead of doing it live, and I think it's probably going to work out better for all of us. Anyway, before we start the painting, I want to show you what you should have in your kit that I supplied. You're going to have a little styrofoam tray, and we're going to mix our paint on that. You should have a little piece of paper like this, and you're going to get it cut out. We're going to cut it out to make it look like that. You're also going to need a marker, 2 paintbrushes, 2 sizes. They should all be in your kit. Black paint, blue paint, red and white, some tape, a bit of water for mixing your brushes. Here are scissors, a rag if you have one. I don't think I'll include, but you can certainly use any old rag you have at your house. And I put some paper here down on the table to protect the table in case there's any mess or drips and such. So before we start, I want to show you the piece of work we're going to do. A little bit up close. And it's on a panel. This one is on a panel, so you can either do it on a panel, but I've supplied you with a canvas. So on the canvases come with plastic on it. So you take off the plastic so you're down to the canvas itself. So there we go. All right, let's get started. Put that one over there so I can look at it. First thing I want to do is I want to take my rabbit. We're going to cut that rabbit out. All right, so you take your time and you cut around. Now to save time for me, I've already cut out my rabbit. So you take your time, pause the camera, the video, and put that aside, cut it out, and when you're ready, come back. Okay, so now we're going to turn the rabbit over on the back side. We're going to take our tape. We're going to tear off little pieces of tape. You don't need a lot. We're going to stick it on the rabbit. I think I'll take that canvas away so you can see a bit better how to do this. Making sure it doesn't go over the edge of the paper. You can probably get, I don't know, we'll probably get 3 or 4. Let's go with 3. Maybe 3 pieces of tape can go on there. And you see I'm just rolling it over, and I'm trying to cover up as much of the backside as I can. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So once that's done, let's put your canvas back. Now here's the thing, where are you going to put your rabbit? On the original, I had the rabbit right there, which is about there. But of course, if you want to move the rabbit further over here, you can certainly do that. Because here's the thing, we're going to put a little bit of shadow later underneath the rabbit and some tracks. So if the rabbit is there, you've got just a couple of tracks, where if you'd rather have the rabbit over here with a lot more tracks. Your decision, wherever you want to put that rabbit. So just to change it up, I think I'm going to put my rabbit right there. Right there. I'm going to push this down, get it nice and snug so it's not going to move. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our snow. Now just look at this snow. You'll notice it's not pure white, it's not blue, there's a mixture of colors I blended in here with some nice strokes back and forth. And in particular, I didn't want to make this snow white. I didn't want it to be pure white because then, of course, you're not going to see the rabbit very well. So in particular, I've got a little bit of blue mixed in there just to soften the color a little, to darken it, because it is a moonlight. It is in the evening. It's dark. It's, you know, the sun has gone down. So we want to darken that just a little bit. So I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do, well, we're done with our tape, put that away. We're done with our scissors, we can put that away. Keep your desk nice and clean. First thing I'm going to do is take a bit of white. Oh yeah, shake it up. Always shake up the paint first. A bit of blob of white right there. It's not a lot, but it's enough for now. Take a bit of blue. Shake that up as well. A little bit of blue. We don't need a lot for right now. So we got some little bit of blue, a lot of white. I'm going to take the big brush. I'm going to put these aside, out of the way for now. Lay them over there. And if you look back at the final work, you'll see that the snow kind of comes up over the top of the rabbit's head. So I want to make sure that that rabbit is down in the snow. I don't want his ear sticking up into the sky at all. I want to sit him down here, and there's a little bit of a space between the rabbit there, the top of his ear, and the top of the snowbank. So let's keep that in mind. And I'm going to take some white and a little touch of blue, and I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to make a nice off-white color. A little bit more blue, looking pretty good. I'm not going to mix it up a lot there. It's purposely staying messy because I want that streaky look, if you remember. And I'm just going to go like this, softly over the rabbit. I'm purposely painting around the edge of the rabbit, like this. But I don't want to put too much paint on the rabbit itself because I want to be able to see what that rabbit looks like later on. So you got to be very cautious of not painting over the pink and the white and the stuff of the rabbit, because you want to look at that later on. Go back and get some more paint. And again, I'm going to make sure that I'm mixing a bit of white and a bit of blue. And I want to get a bit of a snowbank there like this. Look at that. Okay, it's looking good. And you can add some more paint. Maybe mix up a bit more blue in there. And again, just go around nice and maybe I'll add a little bit of water to that, just to make it fluid a bit more, because it seems a little dry to me. Now here's the thing, if you're painting and you find that maybe it's looking a bit blue, but it's not that bad, really, in comparison to that color there. It might be a little streaky there. Maybe I'll add a bit of, I'm gonna go back and just grab a bit of white. I'm gonna bring some white back in here and smooth out some of the places. So that's what you're trying to do. Trying to get it smooth. This is snow, so it's gotta be nice and soft and sort of velvety looking. You don't want it to be too harsh, but you got to be careful that you don't make it too white because you want to make sure that the white rabbit stands out. So I'm liking that. I'm thinking that's good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my brush and take that out. And I'm going to be careful now on my rag. I got an old rag here. And I'm going to clean that off. I don't want any of that white on my brush. But I'm going to be careful that I don't bring the brush over my artwork. I'm going to put it over here to the side so that if it drips or anything happens, it's not going to drop on my canvas. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our sky. I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you what it looks like. There's the sky. But we're not going to do any of this just yet. What are we going to do? I'm going to go back, get some blue. I'm going to add more blue to my little bit of blue there because I want to have solid blue. And this time I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to paint the top side where the sky meets the snowbank. Take a nice line, solid line there. I'm going to be very careful with this line right here. I want to make sure that that's nice and crisp and clean. See that? I have a little bit of water, I think, to my blue. Not much, just to make it go along. All right, it's coming. Just get full blue, we just want solid blue there, all the way up. I don't have enough blue. I think I'm going to run out of blue. I may not though. I think I'm pretty good there. Let's get as much color as I can in that sky. It's a nice deep blue night. That's pretty good. I don't worry about trying to get too much paint on there, too blue. Now, here's something I want you to point out while we're here. When you're painting this, because this one is on a board, there's no edges really. This one here is a canvas and it has an edge. So you want to start thinking about what you can do with those edges. Do you want to do have it blue? You want to carry the blue around, like the sky comes around like this? That's one option I'll show you. That's one option. You can leave it white. Or I'll show you later when I get the black on, I'll show you how you can do it also black. So just keep that in mind as you're moving it around. That you might want to also think about the snow coming around here. And again, look, that's a little too blue. We'll come back with a bit of white. Lighten that up a bit. That's pretty good. Okay, so we've got our snow, we've got our rabbit right there, we've got our sky. Next thing we're going to do is this. All right, it looks a little complicated, but it's not that difficult. What I'm going to do is same brush, I'm going to clean it off. If there's any blue on that brush, I want to get it off because I'm going back to the white. And I'm going to make sure it doesn't drip on my canvas. Clean the brush, nice and dry. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit more white there. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take a nice pile of white and I'm going to decide where I'm putting the moon. See the moon right there? So I'm going to put my moon right there. I just made a drip, look. And I'm going to make a circle. Watch how I'm doing this with the brush. Turning the brush in my hands, making circles. How easy it is to make a circle like that. Now I'm going to come out and I'm going to use the same amount of paint. Look, I'm not going back for any more paint. One thing I'm trying not to do is bring this down into the snow. I don't want that into the snow too much. So I'm getting a nice swirl, and everybody's swirl is going to look different. Painting with somebody, this is going to be so different. So I wouldn't worry if it's not looking exactly like mine or anybody else's. This is where the artwork kind of takes over and does its thing. So look at the difference between that one and that one. No big deal. Now, if you find, oh my goodness, it's a little too dark or too light there, you can come back with a little bit of blue for sure. I mean, you can take the blue and you kind of come back in and bring in the blue back down. Look, if you want to mix in some colors, you can do it this way too. The thing is, you want to keep that circle look. You don't want to make it oval. You can blend in if you wish, soften it up. This is what I'm doing. Depends on how intense you want that to look. So by just adding a little bit of extra blue in there, I'm softening up the sky. It's not as strong as it was before. Kind of looking like a tunnel. And look, I'm not using any water whatsoever. I'm pushing that paint around. I'm not going into the center though, because I want to keep that as bright white as I can. And if you find that your center is not bright enough, well, look, you can take a bit of white and go in and add some more there. That looks pretty good. I like that. Just to compare again, look how they're different. And I just did these back to back and I can't make them the same. So I'm not too worried about it. Oops, a little bit too much white in that one. So I'm going to go back and add some blue in there. See how you can play back and forth these colors. No right or wrong. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to get those snowflakes on. It's really going to change everything here too. Okay, brush goes in the water, the big brush. All right, so now while that's drying, I'm going to go back down and start looking at this rapid right here. I'm going to take my small brush. I'm going to take some black paint first. Put a little drip of paint right there. You don't need a lot. And I'm going to make a bit of gray. Just look right here, back on the original. See this little bit of gray that's there. Look at that. It's very soft, very subtle. I'm going to take a bit of water, and I'm going to take some white over right here and a touch of black. I'm going to make a bit of gray. Very subtle, it's very soft. And before we move the rabbit off, I'm going to add some shadow underneath the rabbit. Take a look at that. Okay. While I got that paint going, I'm going to add some footprints. 1, 2, and you can see they're sort of staggered. And they're kind of long and dashy looking, because that's what the rabbit does. All right, brush goes in the water. Now I'm going to peel off that rabbit. Now, because I didn't put a lot of paint in, I can see where the eyes and the nose and the ear goes, the color of that. But if I'm lucky, when I peel this off, it should still show the shape of the rabbit. It does. Okay, so there's the rabbit, the shape of the rabbit, and this is the shadow, and you can see the shadow went underneath the rabbit. I'll deal with this now in a minute. I want to go, while I did that, the sky was drying. So now we're going to look at the trees. I got 2 trees here. All right, so let's add a little bit more black. Don't need a lot. And I'm going to take my small brush again, clean it off. I'm going to get that white that was on it. I'm going to try to clean that off with my rag. Shake the brush a bit, and I'm going to pick up some black. And my brush is pretty dry. I don't want to have a wet brush. And I'm going to be very careful of getting that line where the tree touches the bank of snow. I want to get that nice and clean, especially across the bottom there. I'm not worried about up here at all, just down there. And how wide is that tree going to be? A little bit wider. Let's go there. And then I'm going to come up. How tall is my tree? I think my tree might maybe a little bit taller. And then I'm just going to start coming down the side. For some more paint and push out from the trunk. And then do the same on the other side. Maybe start on the bottom. Good to have lots of paint on your brush. Okay, there's one tree. Is it too narrow? No, I think it's okay. I like it. Trees, the further north you go, the more narrow the trees look. Next tree, same idea. Gonna paint there, get my length of the tree. And this one is gonna go, so look, this is the height of the tree. I'm gonna go way up on that tree. And this time, maybe I'll come down. Coming down. Coming down. And go up this side, let's see. There. Okay. I like that. Hey, you know what? This one has two trees. I'm going to put a third tree over here. This one's going to be a little smaller. And down, down, down. You know, the trees, it's pretty easy. Maybe you might want to practice this on a piece of paper or something before you actually start it. It's up to how you feel. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now let's look at this rabbit. I've got it outlined and I'm hoping that this is dry enough right here. If it's dry enough for you, then you can pick up your marker. You can bring over your little rabbit. You can look at that rabbit and you can see, like for instance, right here, there's a line that comes down here, goes around. I'm going to outline my rabbit. Marker's not doing so well. Try this marker. See if this does a better job. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, I see there's a little line right there. So this rabbit is going to do this. And then I'm going to go over to his front paws. And this one kind of comes over, overlaps. This one meets there, but then the chest of the rabbit drops down like that. Coming up here, we're going to go around the nose, up, and this ear is behind that ear, so it's only going to come like that. So we've got a rabbit drawn. Let's go with the eye. The eye is about right there. Nice, I like that. That away. Or I should keep that there because we're going to do the pink now. Shape up my red. Only need a little touch of red. Over back on. Clean my brush. Get all that black off. Make sure it's nice and good. Come over here. You want a bit of white. Put it aside. And a little bit of pink in that. Or sorry, a little bit of red to make pink. And then when you've got the color you like, we're going to put a bit of pink in here for his ear. Like that. And a little bit of pink for his nose. A little dot there for his nose. Done. Wash off the brush. Okay, we're done with that. Before I finish off with the snow, I noticed that I've got a little bit of something I picked up off my finger. So there's little spots of black there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, clean the brush, any of that pink off it. I'm going to come back and pick up some white, paint over that. Look, once the paint dries, you've got lots of opportunity to fix any mistakes that you make. Yeah, pretty good. There's a bit spot right there. I'll pick that up right there. It's a bit of a mess here tonight. That's looking good. We're almost done. The last thing we're going to do is our snow. All right, easy, easy. I'm going to take my big brush, clean it off so it doesn't drip way over here away from the canvas. And here's my brush. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the brush around. I'm going to use this end of the brush, not the bristle. And I'm going to dip it down into white paint. And I'm just going to start making dots. And as you see, you start with a big dot and they slowly get smaller as the paint disappears. But that's okay because snow is in various sizes. And the bigger the snowflake, the closer it will appear to you. Now, don't forget, there's just snow falling in front of the trees as well. So you can go anywhere you like with the snow. And not only can you do it up here in the sky, down here too, especially where we've got the bank of snow. It's got some blue mixed into it. It allows you to see some of the snowflakes that are falling on the snow itself. So it's totally up to you where you want to put your snow and how much snow you want. Try to keep it random. As you see, I'm going all over the place. There. Clean that off. And like I said to you before, I was talking about edging. There's one form of edging. You can have pure white if you want, or if you want to go with the black, the third option is the black one. And the way to do the black, like the blue on the other side, is to face your canvas, your artwork, away from you. So you see you're holding on and you kind of see the back of the canvas. Take your big brush and pick up some black paint. Careful you don't drip it. And this time you're going to paint back and forth like this. And you'll just slowly push the paint and the canvas towards you. And the paint goes out to the edge. Well, look, it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of paint on this side because you'll never see it. But on this side, the edge is quite good. It's a nice clean edge. And you can go right around with this one if you wish. Trick is to have a good quantity of paint so it goes on nice and smooth. And watch this. I find that it's got a bit of a raw edge there. So if I tip the canvas a little more to me, I can get that nice straight edge that I want. Here, I'll do this one too, just to show you once again. So I'm just going to paint the edge right along and slowly tip it forward just ever so much. That gives me a nice clean edge. The paint goes in, the brush goes in the water so it doesn't dry out. The last thing you do, sign it. So you can either sign your work here with your name and the date, or when the edging is dry and the canvas is dry, because I still see a little bit of paint there. When the paint is dry, you can sign your name here or there. Perhaps right here would be nice. It's always good to date your work so you know when you did it. Okay, I think we did a great job. I think that's going to be an easy one for you to do, and I hope you have fun. And we'll stay tuned. I've got another one coming soon. Bye.